Hello and welcome to Women for Progress Media. I am Theresa Kennedy, sitting in for Willie Jones as guest host of Women for Progress Radio. Joining us this Thursday, we have Mayor Lekentric Caston, Mayor of Edwards. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So glad to have you. But before we get into what we'll be talking about, I do want to encourage you all to please share this podcast if you hadn't had a chance to. We are live on Facebook. We are also streaming this to our YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go ahead and subscribe and check us out there. You can always listen in now or listen in later or share it with others later. So we do appreciate everyone who has been patient with us. We had some technical difficulties today, but here we are, and thank you all again for joining us. I also want to share that Women for Progress Radio, media, is committed to informing through awareness and elevating through advocacy and action. Our mission is to engage the community in meaningful discussions that empower individuals to create lasting change for themselves and their neighbors. Throughout history, Women for Progress has been a catalyst for transformation, actively pursuing effective solutions for the African American community. And so I just wanted to share that with our listeners, just in case we have new listeners, new people watching tonight, a little bit more about Women for Progress. And so I'll now share a little bit more about our special guest tonight. Mayor Caston is a lifelong Edwards resident. His motto is achievement in every field and human endeavor. I won't ask him where he got that from. But hey, I like it. I like it. Mayor Caston was born and raised in Edwards. He's the son of Thomasine Caston as well as David Daniels. He's the oldest of 6 sisters and 4 brothers, and he's the proud father of 1 son, Gabriel Lomax. He's a graduate of Hinds County Agricultural High School. He attended Alcorn State University. I don't think I knew that. Alcorn State University, as well as Mississippi State, and finished his BS degree at Jackson State University. He is a member of the AmeriCorps of America, where he does community service at the Mississippi Food Network here in Jackson. He's also a member of the Riseside Temple. I'm sorry, I'm not a member, but you also do work there, volunteer community service work there, I'm sorry. He's a member of Jackson State's National Alumni Chapter Association, a member of Kappa Psi Fraternity, where he's the director of the Jackson, Mississippi Kappa League God Right Mentoring Program. And he's an active member of Kingsley Chapel United Methodist Church in Edwards, where he's chairman of the committee board. And his favorite Bible verse, we'll share this too. This is a good one. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not into thy own understanding, and always acknowledge him, and he shall direct our paths. One other quick tidbit about Mayor Caston. He was elected in June of 2021. And since then, he has been a dedicated, motivated, energetic, results-driven, as well as focused on the needs of the community and the growth of Edwards. And he is seeking re-election this year. So Mayor Caston, again, welcome to Women for Progress Media.
Thank you for inviting me.
And now, is this your first time with us? I don't know.
No, I did when I got elected the
Okay,
first year in
wonderful.
2021. I did it with Ms. Wilma Jones then when I first got
Okay,
elected
wonderful.
officer.
Well, wonderful. Well, glad to have you back. We know that anyone that throws their name in a hat on the run for public office is definitely taking a huge step, a huge leap. And many people talk about it, but not a lot of people do it. So I know you're currently in your first term and you're seeking a second term. So just want to applaud you for putting yourself out there and offering yourself for public service. What would you say has been outside? We're going to talk a little bit more about this infrastructure money. But outside of that, what would you say has been your biggest accomplishment since you've been the mayor?
I think my biggest accomplishment is the infrastructure project that we're going to talk about later. But I have done numerous things within the community. So when I got in, I hit the floor running with a new board and alderman, and they've been behind me 100%.
Okay, that's good. Um, so how many board of aldermen are there in Edwards?
I have five, four
Okay,
wards,
five.
and alderman at large.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. I know what your motto for your campaign in 2021, and maybe it's still that for 2025. It's time to rock, revitalize our community. What what does revitalize our community mean to you?
Revitalizing means bringing the city back, bring your town back like what it used to be with the businesses, family oriented things of that nature, and just some fun activities for the community, for everybody to get engaged. I'm trying to bridge that gap between the elders and the young people. So that's why I'm trying to revitalize and bring everybody together as one.
And how has that been? Because I imagine that's quite the challenge,
It's,
um, especially
it
for
was
like.
a
Go
yes, it
ahead. I'm
was a
sorry.
challenge. It was a challenge coming into it because you have your younger generation and you have your older generation, and I'm in between both of them, so I know both sides of each each constituents here, and I'm in that middle, so I'm trying to just bring them to understand what the older generation is doing, and I'm trying to bring the older generation in to understand what the new generation is doing. So I'm in that middle, and I'm just trying to bridge that gap in between each and every one of us down here in Ellis, Mississippi. So you had to do fun things for both sides to make them intertwine with each other.
That's very true. And you talked about our generation in between. We're considered the sandwich generation, and because we're old enough to have parents that may be aging, and having to and maybe need some assistance from us, and then you have, obviously, we're in the age that we're young enough to have kids still in our home, and so they call us the sandwich generation, and I definitely can relate to that, um, very much like you. And so with the you talked about bridging that gap with the seniors in your community as well, and the elders of your community as well as the young people. That's quite a challenge, I'd imagine, but I'm sure you and your board or aldermen are finding ways to engage both groups as well as our own, because most of our age group are people who likely are paying taxes as well, home ownership and all of that. So which is why this infrastructure money that's coming to Edwards is something that we wanted to talk about. Um, we know that in Mississippi alone, and this was under the Biden's administration, I want to point out, that
Yes.
this money was approved, and this was under the infrastructure. It was a $1.7 trillion infrastructure bill. And might I add that it also was a bipartisan bill. And that money was intended to, or is intended to, upgrade the nation's roads, bridges, water systems, and broadband. Um, and so when we break down that 1.7 trillion million, I said trillion dollars, we think about how much came into Mississippi. And
Yes.
so roughly $2.1 billion, which covered 140 projects, projected to cover 140 projects and this was as of 2022. So of that money, obviously that 2.1 billion was broken down. Um, 1.5 million went to roads and bridges, and then you got 74 million that went to clean water, and I guess that's where Edwards fall in. Correctly, am I
Yes,
correct?
correctly. Yes, correctly. It was falling with the clean water. So that's something
Okay.
that we needed here.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what was the issue prior to this funding coming along. What was the issue there in Edwards, for those
Well,
that
it
may
was,
not know?
for those that do not know, Elwood has a brown tint color water. that comes out of old pipes. I mean, Edwards been around since 1871, so that's over 150 some years. And these pipes been in there. And we run off two well system here in the town. And you have visitors come in and say, "Is this y'all water?" Like, yes, this color water. Is it healthy? Yes, it was healthy, soft water. But you want to get away from that color in the water. So, in 2017, under former Mayor Wallace, they did a pilot study for testing demonstration here in Edwards, and it lasted only 9 months. So, with that being said, we further along to 2021 when I got elected. I set some goals, and one of the goals was, see, can I really get this water here for generation to generation? Because people look at it each and every day, and you want to try to build your community back up by bringing businesses back, bringing people back here for retirement, or just having people to stay here for the longevity. So I reached out to Central Mississippi Planning and Development Center in Pearl under Amy Smith. At the time, she was a specialist. And I asked her, was there any type of money out there for water infrastructure for the town of Edwards? And she looked into it for me, and she came across with DRA, Delta Regional Authority, had an application out there to help with infrastructure and water system. And she told me we had to do, so we applied for it. We went to me and a couple of aldermen, Representative Foster, my town engineer. We went to other side of Monroe. They have a water system over there, filtration system, and we went over there and examined how they do it over there, and we came back with the idea, okay, I want something like this in Edwards. Edwards needs this here because you want clean drinking water, clear drinking water, because water is a necessity each and every day. We wash clothes, cook, clean, everything we do with water. 70% of our body is water. So we went over there, looked at it, came back with the idea, did the application, crossed our T's, dot our I's, made sure everything was right with DRA. So we applied. Every time DRA reached out to me about getting them information to complete the application, we submitted it. So from 2023 of May was the deadline. So they wanted to close real quick. It opened in March and it closed real quick. So you had at least 2 months to get the application in and submit it. So it got submitted. And, we just sit and waited and made sure we got everything in there. So like in April, before I got it submitted, I reached out to Dr. Wiggins, Corey Wiggins, who's the chairman of the DRA, and wrote a letter letting him know that the town of Edwards need this project ASAP. We need it really bad because we don't want to be like Flint, Michigan, in a crisis with water. And he read the information, and he really did a whole lot for Edwards. Once we submitted it, we just took our time and waited patiently, months after months of putting things in and trying to complete the task of doing the stuff correctly. And sooner or later, we were awarded the money in October of 2023 on my administration, $2.5 million. So it was like an email came out, and it had different towns and states that was awarded money from the Biden and Harris administration. It was like a $31 million project, and 2.5 million came to Edwards, small town. And it was a blessing that God helped us with this project.
Absolutely. And for those who may not know, he's mentioned DRA, Delta Regional Authority. It is one, I believe, of 5 or 6 regional authorities across the nation, but it does cover 8 states, Mississippi being one of them. And
Yes.
I was a member of the Delta Leadership Institute, so I learned a lot in that institute around economic development. And obviously, to your point, water is most definitely an economic driver and a necessity for any and all persons and businesses, schools, and it just impacts a multitude of things. And so you mentioned about the brown water. The brown water obviously was an issue, not just in Edwards, it's all across the state, and believe it or
Yes.
not. And so I'm certain, and then the other thing I know about DRA too, with their funding, they really help you put together a smooth package that would just go all the way through anyway, because they give you all the tools you need, to your point about Dr. Wiggins and his team,
Yeah.
and even going to Monroe. So what did y'all see in Monroe, Louisiana, that was really a turning point for you all in terms of the way they do things there around the water system?
Well, they had
Mostly.
groundwater. Yeah. Where you go, it's like a filtration system similar to the one we're getting. And you see the water coming in from their well, it's brown. And it goes through a chlorine, get filtered out, and it comes out to the residents and constituents and businesses clear. So they gave us a sample of how the water went into the tank and how it filtered it out. Then they showed us how it came out the tank. So it's like, wow, this filtration system is really good. So we
And the water is
applied the
still,
pressure. Yeah, it's still clear over there. So it's brown going in, but it's clear once it gets filtered out.
well,
So
I
it'd
was
be
going
the
to ask
same
because you,
thing here in Dallas.
you mentioned about soft water, which is a huge deal to a lot of people too. So the water, even as it goes through those phases and comes out clear, is still considered soft water
Yes, it'd be
too.
still considered soft water as well.
That's great. That's great. And so, where are you all? You mentioned in 2023, you all were awarded the $2.5 million. Where are you all currently, I guess, in your timeline for this actually coming on board and citizens start seeing a difference?
For its timeline, we broke ground Monday on it, but they had already started, using the space and building stuff there, bringing the equipment in. So it's an 18-month project. So with weather permits, by December of next year, 2026, the project should be completed, and the town of Edwards should see clean, clear water. So the process, once lay the foundation and put the tanks up, we should be on the ground rolling with clean water next year in 2026.
That is awesome. 18 months project. That is very much well, to your point about the weather, that can definitely, but maybe y'all built some time in there for there because Mother Nature and climate change is very real. And so, um, do you think what will be the economic, I guess, impact of having this um, new filtration system? Do you think it will help drive more business to Edwards and bring people back, maybe back home? Um, or is it just will be the beginning of what you would like to see or what your plans are for the town of Edwards?
I feel like it'll be a beginning stage of bringing people back and building businesses here and homes here because we are located off Interstate 20, which is a major highway. So we're between Jackson and Vicksburg. So we 15 minutes from Vicksburg, 20 miles from Jackson. So we in between both major cities. And we're on the other side of Clinton. And Clinton is developing fast and they can't build anything else in Clinton. So if you decide you want to go west, you can come to Elvis because now we have clean water and we on a major highway 20, so people can be able to stop by, build whatever they want, any type of company, because we have land out here in Elvis to build. And I see Elvis building. If it's not under my administration or any other administration after me, but with this project and clean water, I feel like Elvis will build.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, because you mentioned about the land and the city of Clinton being landlocked. Um, I guess you all are too, because y'all otherwise run into Warren County.
Yes,
And then you have
we
both
the
of those.
last city in Afghanistan.
Gotcha. Well, you mentioned what other towns may have, and well, before I ask about other towns, the 2.5 million, obviously, if that was factored in 2023, you all still have access or will have access to all 2.5 million because now there's a new administration.
Yes, we still have access to it, so that's why we moved quickly ahead before the new administration got in, and we still was awarded the $2.5 million. So that's why we went ahead on broke ground. We probably had broke ground in March, but it was a little delay behind it. So we made sure we broke ground in April, so we won't be delayed anymore because the money was there before the
Okay.
Biden Harris administration left out, so the money was still there. So
Well, that was good to know that. That's good to know that you all moved pretty swiftly to ensure that the funding couldn't be pulled back to support this. this water filtration system. Um, but this, not, but I was wanted to ask you about you mentioned how much of it was going to small towns for the purpose of clean water. How relative to what Edward size is, what did other do you know about other communities that may have gotten just as much as money, but much bigger towns or cities?
When the project was in the email I looked at, you had various cities and various towns like Alabama,
Okay.
Arkansas, Illinois, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and it roughly breaks down at 31 million and told you how much each town got. It was like basically rural towns, a bunch of rural towns. I think Mississippi, you had Port Gibson to get something as well for their water project. I think Shaw, Mississippi, up in the Delta area, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's like 4 or 5 more towns. But town of Elvis got $2.5 million, so we got 45% of the money that was funded to the state of Mississippi. So town of Elvis has 45% of the fundings that was handed to the state of Mississippi out of everybody in the state that was awarded, and that was a blessing.
Oh, absolutely. When you look at, I don't know if that's 40%, but definitely that is a good number. $2.5 million for clean water. For to your point, how large is Edwards in terms of the population?
Within the city limits, it's like 1,000. So it's
Hmm.
small by number, but big by heart. But overall, probably 1,500 because you got to count the outside of the county part. So that's how big Elwood is.
And those county parts are connected to the city's water system.
Yeah, some of the county parts are connected to the city water system.
Okay, well
Roughly,
that's
probably 300 of that extra 500 probably connected to the city.
and are any of the people who are helping to build up this uh, system, are any of them, is it local participation with helping in terms of building this new system for you all,
Well, when the
like the
bid went out in
contractors?
September, yeah, the contractor, it was 4 contractors that bidded on it. You had 2 from the state of Mississippi and 2 from Louisiana. And you know, when you come with bidding, you go with the lowest bid. And the coming out of Louisiana, Mitchell is the one who got the bid. But it was like between them and the contractor in Mississippi was like $10,000 difference. That's
Oh
how close it
wow.
was on the bid, $10,000 difference. We looked at it on the bid. She like, wow, both of them bid it about the same. So one just came $10,000 cheaper than what the other one was when they bid
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay. Um, well, that's good to know that you all are getting, I guess, more bang for your buck
Yeah.
with the Louisiana company. Um, and so, but their workers will be people from Louisiana, or is there any way? And I'm just asking, like, are anybody locally will be a part of
I
their team?
I think the team that some of the guys that was up there last week when I was up there, I think they local. I think they
Okay.
subcontracted out to some people local in the local area. So
Oh, that's really good to know. That's good to know. And again, I applaud you all, you and your aldermen and everyone who were part of making this happen. Um, there, to my what I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of towns and communities and cities throughout the country, not just even here in
yeah.
Mississippi, that have this very same issue. And so happy to see that you all were diligent about making sure this came into fruition. Um, was there anything else you wanted to add about surrounding this? Are there any road closures people should know about, or is there any time the water gonna be offline that you know of? That's any of that you want to share out to your community that may get a chance to check this video out or listen to it?
Well, there will be some water cut off on certain days that they need to do work and connect the pipes to the well. So once that project start, once that part of the project start, we have a text alert, and I would notify the constituents here and let them know that the water's being turned off ahead of time, so they be prepared for how long it'll be out for, because it can cause some problems, throughout the day, especially when you have elderly people or senior citizens that's at home all the day and they need their medicine and things like that. So I'll make sure in a timely fashion, a timely manner, that I let them know, be notified of that the water be turned off while they're doing completion of this project.
Okay. And those dates, can you share them with us so that we can maybe share them out as well, to help
Well, as
with? Okay.
well as of
Wonderful.
now, it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning
Yeah, yeah,
stage. So
yeah, yeah.
once they get it,
But when
once
that
we get it,
happens.
they will know. So
Oh, wonderful. Well, we just like to be as helpful as possible with carrying the water. I like to say being water carriers. And so, any way we can help spread the message so that constituents know, we are always open to that. So please reach out to Women for Progress. You obviously have Willie Jones, a good way of reaching Willie Jones or Juanita Brown around this. And
yes,
so, and I know Miss Brown is from that way, so she's very
yes.
fond of Edward. And so, thank you so much, Mayor Caston. I know
Thank you.
we were a little late getting started, and I know you have something else to get to as well as me. And so, again, thank you for joining us here on Women for Progress Radio, as well as the umbrella of Women for Progress Media. Um,
Yeah.
and, anything else you would like to share? I'm sorry.
I just want to thank everybody that collaborated with me on this project. I mean, it's a huge success. It was a blessing, from God, that after 150 years, that the town of Elwood will begin clean, clear drinking water for the citizens here.
All right. That is a big deal. Thank you again for joining us. If you would like to be a guest on the Women for Progress Radio, please reach out to Miss Juanita Brown or send us a message on our Facebook. Again, please share this broadcast with any of your friends or family that are in and around around Mississippi, as well as the Delta Regional Authority, because of the great work that they're doing, still throughout the 8 states that they have a footprint in. And again, thank you so much for joining us, Mayor Caston, and we are signing off.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed night.
You too.